Previously on Tomb Raider, the Angel of Darkness. So yeah, now we're gonna finally get rid of you, buddy. So don't you worry about that. And... okay. I must go. My planet needs me. What the heck is going on? Laura? You okay, girl? And with that, our adventure continues. Hello everybody, Jonathan Wolf here, and welcome back to the Tomb Raider Marathon. Today we're going to be continuing with Angel of Darkness, and we're going to be accessing the Tomb of the Ancients. However, before we do any of that, we have to go through the Archaeological Dig. So with that said, let's get started. So yeah, last time we infiltrated the Louvre, and now we're going underneath the Louvre, since there's apparently an archaeological dig underneath one of the most popular museums in the world. Okay, so let me see real quick, what weapon do I have equipped? Okay, I do have the taser gun, that is awesome. Now, one thing that I forgot to mention is that you can actually cycle your weapons by pressing up or down on the D-pad. In fact, if you check your gun on the holster, if we press up or down, you may see that it actually changes, which is pretty cool. I actually kind of like it. Although, yeah, trying to find out what weapon you want exactly is kind of it's a bit problematic, especially when there's like three weapons that fire bullets, you know. Okay, so here we got this guy, which drops a taser gun, even though we already have one, so that's basically ammunition. And where he came from, there is a lever. And this lever, what it's going to do is going to turn off some power, and it's going to activate a very interesting mechanism, but it's also going to activate a lever. Also, there's sound outside. I'm going to close my window. I'll be right back. Alright, let's continue on. Alright, now we're going to take our taser gun again, because there's going to be a guy here. And he does have a lethal weapon. And we can actually pick it up to get some ammunition. Alright, now over here we have these doors. Which, by the way, these doors are to the right, or are to the left in the container that with the lever we pulled. And basically, this door is completely optional. But this will take us to an area with what I like to say it's an X-ray visor or an X-ray drill to some extent. So when you pull the lever, we're actually gonna see this drill, and it will have this X-ray visor that will see through the floor, which is pretty cool. And you can investigate here all you want. However, what you want to do is you want to aim at the top left corner of this area. And by doing so, we're going to find a symbol here. Now, once we find the symbol, we want to press the crouch button. And as you can see, we now have a printed version of that symbol we saw. If Laura would be kind enough to grab it. Thank you, Laura. Now, before we investigate that object, we are actually going to go into this other container right here. Now, again, this is completely optional if you do know the solution, but...
A terminal. Let's see what we've got here. The Nephilim race. 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 The Nephilim race.
Yes, Laura, it is the Nephilim race. Yeah, this part is a bit buggy because Laura will, like, reset her dialogue for some reason, but yeah. The Nephilim race. It says here that the Nephilim were the hybrid offspring of angels and humans. They were thought to be able to change their physical appearance and flourish in Turkey in early biblical times. Now extinct. Well, you can't win them all. Good Lord, Laura. Alright. Let's press the action to get rid of the text. And in this printer, we have another symbol that we can actually get. And this will also spawn this guy. Ow. Jackass. Alright. And basically, what we got is, if we go to our items, we see that we got the first ancient symbol copy and the second ancient symbol tracing. And these two symbols, for some reason they're separate for some reason, but whatever. But yeah, these two symbols are going to be very important to solve a puzzle in this level. So yeah, with that said, let's go ahead and go for that puzzle. Now, where this container is, you want to go back, because right over here we have a ladder. And basically what we have to do is we have to go all the way to the bottom of these catwalk areas. Now as we go down, we are going to encounter some enemies, or a enemy at the bottom. But we're not going to worry about him until we get to the very bottom. Now there's multiple ways you can go, but I'm just going to take the more direct approach. Ow! Jackass. Alright. Taste this fool. And let's get rid of him. Alright, now once you get to the bottom, now what we want to do is we want to climb back up. However, we're going to climb back up in a special way. So over here to the right, we can actually climb this wall right here. And by the way, just to show, there is nothing in this bottom area. You can explore this area right here and an area to the other side, but there's nothing in this area. It's just that guy that we can just taste to death. So once you get to the bottom, you want to go over here to the right, and here we have this climbable wall. And basically we want to climb this thing all the way to the top. And you do have to angle Lara a bit sometimes to, you know, get to your destination, but you will have enough grip meter to go through this entire thing. Alright. And right over here on this ledge, directly above me, there is a monkey bar. Our very first monkey bar. And we can actually get to the other side. And we will have enough grip meter to actually make it to the other side. Now, I don't know if this is actually true, but I've noticed that I lose more stamina when I'm hanging on my hands than instead of my hands and feet. So for example, when I'm climbing like the wall, I lose less stamina than if I was shimmying on a ledge. But I don't know, I feel that it's a bit, I don't know, I've actually noticed that the more I play this game. Okay, but once you get to the end of the monkey bar, we actually want to go above the monkey bar, because right over here we have the lever that we activated when we pulled that first level at the beginning. And this lever is going to lower this platform, which is going to allow us to get to the puzzle of this level. Okay, so right over here, where this circle is, this is the end of the level. However, we need to find a way to open it. And to open it, what we have to do is we have to go down. And then we have to, we basically have to get down over here to where the monkey bar is. And now we have, right there we got the platform. Now, if you want, what you can do is you can actually jump to that ledge over there. However, what you can do is you can just hop, which is by pressing forward while holding walk. What you want to do is you want to jump while pressing walk. And as you can see, right here we got this very cool looking door. And I gotta say, this door looks pretty awesome. Now, you may be thinking, okay, so what do we do with this door? Do we have to do something like special with it? Well, if we check our notebook, or if we check the door itself, you may notice that we have a bunch of symbols in the door. However, you may also notice that we do have some symbols that look very familiar. So for example, right there and right here, we have symbols that look very similar to the symbols we got back at the beginning, back on the top. In other words, this symbol and this symbol. So you may be thinking, okay, so what's the deal with this? Well, if we check Werner's notebook and we go all the way to the right, we will see this. The two missing symbols are hidden, close by the buttress. And you may notice that the image on the left resembles very similar to the door that we're facing. And you may also notice that the symbols on the first, you may also notice that, I don't know if I can show my mouse, but I can show my mouse like this. But you may notice that we have 1, 2, 3, 4. And you may notice that the first and the last symbol have already been established, which means that we can now go ahead and set these symbols so that just to begin with the puzzle. So, okay, I'm not gonna go it again. I'm not gonna look at it again. But if you saw the puzzle, basically what we have to do is we have to basically try to find the symbols that were located on Werner's notebook. Now, the way to find the symbols, well, first off, if we approach the door, we're going to see the action icon. And by pressing the action button, we're going to flip this, we're going to pull this lever. And as you can see, it's going to change the symbols that are onto my left. Now, the idea is to make sure that all the symbols on the left resemble the symbols that we have on Werner's notebook and on the symbols we got back at the top. Now, we flip the switch again, you will see that, okay, so there is no symbol that resembles the ones from the notebook. However, if we pull the symbol one more time, we're going to see that the symbol on the leftmost actually resembles one of the symbols that we saw in Werner's notebook. And basically, we now found one of the symbols that needs to be locked in. Now, unfortunately, if we pull this lever again, we're going to move that symbol. So we have to make sure we do not move it. So what you want to do is we want to go over here to the right, and over here we have 4 levers. And basically, what these levers will do, they will basically lock the respective symbol on the door. So what you want to do is, once you find the symbol, we want to pull this lever, which is the first lever to the left. And as you can see, it's going to lock the leftmost symbol on that door. So now we can continue moving the symbols. And as you can see, the rightmost symbol is another one that correlates to the notebook. So basically, we check the notebook. We're going to see that the first symbol was a sort of helmet-looking thing, or a crescent moon, from the bottom, I guess. I don't know. But the symbol on the right kind of resembles, like, I'm gonna call it like a weird butterfly with a pointy butt. And yeah, basically we have to find those symbols. So as you can see, we got the crescent moon, and we also got the weird symbol with the pointy butt. Now, you may also notice that we also have other similar versions to the symbols. However, they are inverted. And yeah, we want to make sure we do not mess up and not get the inverted one, because if we do, we have to reset this so we can actually, make it so that the symbols correlate. Okay, so now what we have to do is we have to keep pulling the levers until we locate the symbols that we got back at the top. And if we pull this guy twice again, you will notice that the third symbol from the left, or if you're going from left to right, resembles one of the symbols we got back at the top, which is the double circle, this one right here. And because this one is very similar to the one we got, we can actually lock the third symbol into place. So let's pull this lever. Which means that now we have to pull the lever until we get to the last symbol. And as you can see by the symbols, yeah, the symbol is actually one pull away. So let's pull this guy. And yeah, there's no need to lock the last symbol. And once you find all the symbols, as you can see, the door at the top will now open, or the gate at the top will now open, giving us access to the next level. So now what we have to do is, from this point, we can just jump over here. And now we have to make it back to the top. So we want to jump up here. And then we want to go up here. And then we can reach this opening, which we can just drop off. And this will give us access to the Tomb of Ancients. And here we are, the Tomb of Ancients. Now I am going to save my game because I don't want to do the last level again in case I die. So let's, let's go over here. File number 4. Alright. And because this is a classic Tomb Raider game, we need to have some marvelous camera shots. Also have some sick backflips. But with that said, behold! And yes, our objective is to go all the way to the bottom. And you may notice that there's actually a funny looking guy in the bottom. Now, I will say right now that the first part of this level is very annoying because you may notice that we have those bats flying around. And these bats can be very obnoxious because they can stun you and kill and drop you off very easily. Kind of similar to the beetles and the wasps from... Or kind of similar to the wasps from Tenos or the beetles from Tomb Raider 4. Now, the first thing we want to do is we want to walk to the edge, and then we want to press the action button. And then we want to climb down this wall. And once we get to the bottom, we want to let go. Now, as soon as you drop over here, most of the time there's going to be a bat that's going to come towards us. Yeah, this little guy right here. 1 or 2 shots will kill it, so you can just stay right here. And yeah, basically, my recommendation is just stay in one place and do not move do not move because of the weird camera angle you get with the because of the weird camera you get when you have your weapon drawn. Yeah, you will fall off to the bottom more times than necessary. All right, so from this point we're just gonna hop to this beam. Have some bad jump scare, and then we're gonna jump to this hole. And yeah, basically we just have to keep moving down. Yeah, as you can see, I mean, look at this place. This is a really cool area. I gotta admit, it almost looks very thumbnail material, you know. Okay, so now what we're gonna do is we're gonna jump to the other side of this broken bridge because there are some bandages. Now, I believe this will also aggro a bat. And yeah, 1 shot will kill him very quickly. Alright, and now we gotta try to find a way to get down. And the best way to do so is from this point, we want to search for that ledge that is right over there. And basically what we want to do is we have to do a running jump and grab. Now, I highly recommend you save your game because this jump can be very scary. So now, let's do the running jump. That was a very scary stutter, but we managed to do the jump, so that is awesome. Alright, and now, once we get to this platform, we want to aim for the left where this gargoyle is, and then we just want to do a standing jump. And then we want to get up, because for some reason I cannot go around the corner. So instead, what you want to do is you want to not pull up. You want to pull up, and then you want to drop down into this side. Now, sometimes a bat comes here to play, but yeah, he's not coming here, so There's really no... So yeah, we have to... One less bat to worry about, so that is awesome. Alright, so now that we're down in here, we want to aim for this ledge. And then we want to press the action button, because here we can actually climb down. And we can just let go from here. Okay, so now we have to go for that ledge. And there's two ways you can actually get to that ledge. You can either just jump, or the safer way, you can actually grab this wall and you can actually go around the corner. So yeah, similar to Tomb Raider 4's Chambers of Tulun. If you want to find a resemblance. And yeah, basically just get to the bottom. And you can just let go at the end. Okay, and here we have a very scary jump. I highly recommend you save, but you can just do a standing jump from the corner. And right here we got this lever, and this lever is going to eject some platforms that are going to allow you an easy way to get to the bottom of this area. Now for this first jump, I recommend you do a hop. And then for this next jump, we were going to do a standing jump. Or a normal standing jump. Alright, for this one, we're just going to jump and grab. I feel that when you do hops, I've had an issue if you try to do a hop and grab a ledge, Lara will not do the animation of grabbing the ledge. So, if you have to do a jump and grab the ledge, but it's a bit close, or the platform is a bit too close to you, I just recommend you just jump and grab. It's not like Tomb Raider 1 where she will take a while. She will take a couple of seconds to grab in the air. It's more like in Tomb Raider 3 and beyond, where the moment you jump and hold the action button, Lara will put her hands in the air. All right, and here we go. We managed to get to the bottom, and here we have Billy the Bone Man. Now, these guys, similar to pretty much any other skeleton we've encountered in the Tomb Raider franchise, and by that I mean Tomb Raider 4 and only Tomb Raider 4, we cannot kill these guys. However, we can kick him in the face. So yeah, this game does have a melee combat. However, it's pretty bad. I'm just going to say right now, it's honestly the worst aspect of Tomb Raider of this game when it comes to the combat. Because basically, what you want to do is, in order to kick, what you want to do is you want to get on the enemy's face and just press the action button. And that's pretty much it. That's pretty much all you have to do. Now, if you kick this guy 9 times, he will actually fall down. However, he will get back up. So, yeah, at that point, just ignore him. Now, the way to go is over here in this crawl space. And on the other side of this crawl space, we do have another lever, which is going to move some more blocks, or is going to give us more platforms we can use to reach another lever. Now, we want to be careful because, yeah, this guy can do a lot of damage with his sword. And, yeah, we do want to be careful. Although, to be fair, this guy's the only enemy we have to worry about because, yeah, this level is not that difficult. There is one last thing we have to do for the end, but it's not that terrible. Alright, but now what we have to do is we have to basically climb up and go into that lever. Now this part can be kind of... Now trying to grab this platform can be kind of finicky, but you want to go to the edge of the previous platform. And then for here, just do jumps and grabs. Very simple. And yeah, getting up is the easy part, but getting down can be the tricky part because, like I mentioned, because of the multiple leg upgrades we've gotten for Lara, her jump can overshoot a bunch of platforms. But again, we're going to see that when we get to the end, or when we go back down. All right. So once we get to here, we're gonna do a normal jump. And you can try to do a hop, but if you just aim for the farthest part of this platform, you'll make it no problem. And the same goes for here. Alright. And once we get to the end, we are going to get this lever. And this lever, what it's going to do is it's going to open a trapdoor in that sand pit where Billy was. So now we have to go all the way to the bottom. And yeah, like I mentioned, getting down is a bit finicky because you can overshoot your jumps. Now for this first jump, just want to do a hop. And for this second jump, you can do a hop in the edge, but you can just do a normal jump towards the wall. All right, and for this one, we just do a normal jump. Then we just wanna hang on, and then for this jump, we're gonna do a hop. So we're gonna, or I can just do this. And completely overshoot. Yeah, see? I knew it. I knew I had to do a hop. Ladies and gentlemen, I died again. So there you go. Okay, so I'm going to reload the game. And I will see you guys back at the spot. So I'll see you guys in a bit. You know, one of the best things about this game is that when you bump into a ledge that you want to grab, you can actually save yourself by pressing the action button. Because, yeah, in the other games, if you bump yourself on a wall, then that's it, you're basically dead. But not the case in this game. That's actually one thing I forgot to mention. And yeah, I was able to save myself from a lot of falls in some levels. I think the first instance was the Serpent Rouge. Okay, so yeah, this was the jump that I failed. So we're just gonna do a hop and almost overshoot. Holy crap. Alright, and now we got this jump. And this jump can be also kind of difficult because, yeah. Okay, we're gonna aim for, yeah, the middle-ish. Oh. Wow. Alright. This one we can just do a jump. And we can just let go. Oh, what? Oh, well, that sucks. Alright, there we go. We got to the bottom. Bye, Billy. Oh my god, Bailey's following me. Ah, run away, run away. Okay. Screen transition. Let's despawn him. Okay, I actually want to go back because if we go over here, there's actually a door. And this door, we can kick it open.
My strength is increasing.
And we can actually get a leg upgrade. And in this little compartment, we get some shotgun shells and the shotgun itself. So yes, finally, a new weapon that is not a gun, that is not a handgun. That is awesome. Although in this game it's actually called the V-Pack. Although I'm just gonna say it's a shotgun because, well, it's a shotgun. So there you go. Okay, so right here, I highly actually I'm gonna save my game because I don't want to die again. But I'm gonna save my game because this next part can be very tricky because now we have to do a timed run. And this timed run can be very finicky. Especially considering that the damage output can be very ridiculous. Okay, so as soon as we enter this room, we're gonna get locked in. And over here to the right, there's a lever. And what this lever is gonna do is it's gonna open the door at the end of the hallway. However, as you may notice, we have these dart traps. However, once we pull the lever, in between these pillars, there's going to be blade traps that are gonna try to impale you to no end. And those blade traps can actually cost you death. So, yeah, what I highly recommend is, why are the traps? No, whatever. Yeah, basically what you want to do is you want to basically position yourself and just go for it. So yeah, pull the lever. And yeah, basically you want to jump and bang on the thing and die immediately because I am terrible at this game. Son of a gun. Okay. Okay, yeah, my problem is that I was actually explaining, because, yeah, the best way to do this is to just YOLO it. So as soon as you enter, pull the lever, and then make a run for it. Now, the best way to do the jump is to you want to cross the, oh my god, why are you doing it? Oh my god, I'm doing a terrible job explaining, but I'm going to reload again just to show you. But the best way that I found to make the running jump over the blade is, you may notice there was actually a floor pattern where the dart traps are. And basically, what you want to do is you want to make the running jump after you reach the door pattern. So, just to show you real quick. Yeah, right here we got the door pattern. And basically, once you reach over here, do the running jump. Just cross this thing. And with that said, yeah, we're just gonna go into this door. And as you may notice, we got an update to our notebook. So let's see what we got. Ultrasis Atrium Custodians. Okay. I guess we translated some cool stuff or something, I don't know. But let's go ahead and open this door and approach another door and enter my favorite level or one of my favorite levels in Tomb Raider 6, and that is the Hall of Seasons, because this level is massive. In fact, I'll even say that it's probably the biggest level in the entire game. Although, to be fair, this level is very similar to the Parisian ghetto, where you have the ghetto, where you have yet like a main hub, but you have like different levels. It's kind of similar to it's basically similar to, imagine if St. Francis Folly imagine St. Francis Folly from, why am I stealth? That's weird. But yeah, imagine St. Francis Folly, where you have to go through a loading screen to get to the God Trials. That's basically what it is. That's basically what this level is to some extent. But yeah, with that said, ladies and gentlemen, thank you all for watching this episode of the Tomb Raider Marathon. Next time we meet, we're going to be moving on to one of my favorite levels in the entire game, and honestly, one of my favorite levels in the classic Tomb Raider series. But until then, this is Jonathan Wolf, and I'll catch you all in the Hall of Seasons. Take it easy, everyone.